Hey guys, Michelle Labelle here, and I hadn't necessarily planned for my next topic to be on this in the series of videos that I've been doing, but something kind of happened today, and so it has prompted me out of my anger, out of my sorrow, out of my frustration to make this video today, because strap yourself down, I've got a lot to say. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about bisexuality and bullying. Now, the motivation for discussing bullying stems from the following. This morning I woke up, and as I usually do, I checked my Facebook feed. And the first thing that I saw was a story about a 12-year-old bisexual girl named Alyssa. And I'm actually going to read to you that story right now. So, because it needs to be told, and I don't want to paraphrase, I don't want to get any details wrong, so I'm going to read the actual article that was published by Daily Mail UK, and I'm going to link it in the description of the video so you can feel free to read it for yourself and see the pictures of this beautiful, remarkable young woman and share her story. I invite you to share her story. And here it is. An Iowan mother says her 12-year-old daughter has been driven to suicide by bullies at her school who had tormented the girl for being bisexual. Alyssa Morgan, a student at a Southeast Polk Junior High School in Des Moines, took her own life April 3rd by hanging herself in her family's garage. I am the one who found my daughter, and the image haunts me every day, says Nicole Morgan, the 7th grader's mother. Morgan's family say at home the girl was a typical 12-year-old who enjoyed drawing, playing video games, and putting on makeup. But at school, she was mercilessly hounded and made to feel worthless. When you have other people telling you that you are not worthy of anything, or that being bisexual is wrong, or somehow disgusting, they are going to take that into thought, Morgan told the station KCCI. The once joyful, lively girl took to cutting herself and would often cry after school. In the run-up to her suicide, Alyssa had been out of school for 3 weeks. She attended weekly counseling sessions and was put on medication, but nothing seemed to work, reported the Des Moines Register. Then, 6 days before her death, Morgan confided in her parents that she was having suicidal thoughts and was afraid she might hurt herself, prompting them to have her hospitalized. Nicole Morgan told the paper that not long before the tragedy, Alyssa had come out to her family and friends as bisexual, which apparently intensified the bullying at school. She would say people were calling her names, Morgan said. All of us told her we didn't care, that it doesn't bother us and we love her no matter what. Mrs. Morgan, a mother of 4, never filed a complaint with the school district because she says her daughter refused to identify her tormentors. But she contends that teachers and staff at the Southeast Polk knew, or should have known, that Alyssa was being subjected to bullying and name-calling on a daily basis. Nicole Morgan also believes that someone had said or written something to Alyssa right before her suicide, but neither she nor police officers have been able to unlock the girl's smartphone to review data from April 3rd. Alyssa's mother said the 12-year-old had seemed just fine 20 minutes before entering the garage and hanging herself. Alyssa did leave a despairing suicide note scrawled on a piece of notebook paper that read, "I'm sorry for everything. I just can't anymore. I love you all. Goodbye." Nicole Morgan is convinced that school officials did not do enough to protect Alyssa from the bullies and then failed to appropriately address the tragedy, using her request to keep the graphic details of Alyssa's suicide private as an excuse not to talk about it at all. When your kid goes to school, it is their responsibility to make sure your kid is safe, Morgan said. I don't feel like they're doing that. Morgan says her son will be starting 6th grade next year at Southeast Polk Junior High, but she is afraid that he too might be subjected to abuse. Alyssa Morgan's suicide comes 2 years after another student in the district, openly gay high schooler AJ Betts, took his own life. Cheryl Moore, AJ's mother, said she was told that this was the 14th suicide in the district in a decade. How many lives does it take before you guys step up and do something about this? Nicole Morgan wondered aloud. Southeast Polk Community School District Associate Principal Nathan Bala detailed for the station KCCI the changes that have been put in place to combat bullying. The school has formed a student group called Stand for the Silent, whose mission is to prevent bullying and encourage students to intervene and report incidents of harassment. The junior high school also holds assemblies and classes throughout the year on bullying prevention and awareness, along with panels and community events. So that's the story of Alyssa. And of many, many bisexuals and LGBTQ youth in this country and around the world. And my own story has so many things in common with hers that I think it's part of the reason why this hit me so hard. When I read it, I just broke down and I started crying. Because besides the fact that when I looked at this little girl's picture, she looked just like me when I was that age. I mean, like, physically, this girl could be my little sister. And I saw myself in her at that age. I liked doing art, I liked playing video games and putting on makeup when I was 12 too. And it was around that age when I first kissed a girl, which I mentioned in my previous video, and I was trying to figure out my sexuality and all of those things. And I, like many people, was bullied, not just for, necessarily for being bisexual, because I didn't even know that I was bisexual at that point yet. It wasn't until later in life when I came out and have different things happen to me. But I was bullied for wearing glasses. I was bullied and constantly body shamed for being skinny. I was bullied for being a nerd. I was bullied for being the goth chick. I was bullied for, so many things that so many people are bullied for. And I know I'm not alone in this. And I don't pretend to act like I am, because I'm not. I know my story is in no way unique, obviously. But I know what that feels like, to feel like you're alone. I know what it feels like to feel worthless, to feel like you're a piece of shit, because that's how people treat you. And it's really hard as a human being to distance yourself and to detach yourself from the things that people tell you and the messages that you're constantly being inundated with, whether it's on Facebook, social media, in person, sometimes even from your own family. I remember when I was about 11, I was a big Ricky Martin fan because I'm Puerto Rican and I liked him and he's cute, whatever. And my dad asked me, "Oh, do you think he's gay?" And I was like, "I don't know," because he figured since I was a fan I would know. And he said, "Oh, you know what, I said to him, I think I think that he actually has a girlfriend, because at the time, this is before Ricky Martin was out of the closet, and he had a beard, as we say. And my dad said, oh, he's probably bisexual. And then he said, those are the worst. The bisexuals are the worst because they're unfaithful and they spread diseases. I was 11. And I was bisexual. Even though I didn't know that the word for it was bisexual, but I knew that I liked men, I knew that I liked women, and I knew that that's what my dad was talking about. And he was talking about me. So naturally, I didn't come out, I didn't tell. He was actually the last person to find out that I was bisexual, and that was like last year. And I'll be 29 in May, so that just goes to show you how long it took me to come out to my father for that reason. So Alyssa at least had the benefit of having a family that loved her and supported her for who she was no matter what. But unfortunately, sometimes it's not enough to have the people around you supporting you when you're constantly being bullied and attacked and marginalized for who you are. That being said, I want to mention that if there's anybody out there right now that is watching this video, no matter where you are, and you are having thoughts of taking your own life because of the things that you are being subjected to, there are people out there that can help you. There are people you can talk to that will comfort you and support you and help you realize that suicide is not the answer. There is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. There's also the Trevor Lifeline, which is 1-866-488-7386. And there's also the Transgender Lifeline, which specializes specifically in trans individuals and their specific needs and situation. And that number is 1-877-565-8860. And I can tell you that these people can really help you, because I personally, just last year, called the Trevor line because I was having a really bad day, a really bad week, a really bad month, and I was going through a very difficult situation in my relationship and in my life, and I was in so much pain that I could not bear it. And I knew that if I didn't talk to someone, that I was probably going to end my life. Because like Alyssa, I just couldn't anymore. And so I called the Trevor line, and I talked to this girl, and she also happened to be Puerto Rican. And she made me laugh, and she listened. She really just listened to me. She listened to everything that I had to say. She let me just vent and get it all out of my system. She let me cry and just really just put myself out there and be vulnerable. And she met me with no judgments, and she consoled me, and she talked me off the ledge. And I'm so grateful for the Trevor Lifeline, because it saved my life. And if I can pass that on and save somebody else's, then that's the best thing that I could have done for anybody. That being said, I don't want to just console you and offer you comfort for the pain that you are feeling if you are one of these people that is being bullied. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and spoon feed to you the whole "it gets better" phrase, because Even though, yeah, it does get better for a lot of people, but for a lot of people it doesn't. And I think that we need to be honest with our youth, and because the world is a harsh place, and the world is not gonna be easy on our youth, and so we cannot be easy on them when it comes to educating them on the reality of the cruelties that this world can sometimes bring, and the things that you will have to endure for being someone who is different. So I'm not going to tell you that it gets better, because it might not. You may not have, the immediate ability in this moment to get out of whatever situation you're in. You might be stuck right now. And what I am going to tell you is this, because you deserve the truth. And so I'm going to give it to you. This world is a hard place for everybody in it. Absolutely everybody in it. Even the people that you think have it easy have something going on that you couldn't possibly comprehend. And I invite you, I challenge you not to take your life from this world. I challenge you to take your life back from the people that have bullied you or that have tried to take your dignity from you. I challenge you to stand up to them, to be strong, to be resilient, to be tough, to be a survivor, not just a survivor, but a thriver, to not let these people that are bullying you, these are merely obstacles, these are merely hurdles, these are merely bumps in the road of your life. And I know that when you are young, it is so hard to find a way to cope. It's so hard to even conceive that you could get out of whatever it is that you're in, because I know how easy it is to feel powerless under the weight of everything that's going on. I challenge you to use the opportunity of being bullied to educate the people that are bullying you. To stand in front of them when they call you a name, if they call you a faggot or they call you a dyke or they call you confused or whatever they call you, you tell them, I am a human being and so are you. Whenever they say something, and they can keep calling you names, oh, you're stupid, you're da-da-da-da-da-da, they can keep rattling off at you, you stand there tall, you stand there proud, you stand there with your conviction and the dignity that you were born with. You stand there with that intact and you say, I am a human being and I deserved as much respect as you do. And even if they punch you in the face and even if they kick you down, you go on your terms and you fight. We need you to fight. We need to stop losing our youth to bullying. We need to stop losing these beautiful human beings because they just can't take it anymore. We need you, whether you think we need you or not. I, as a woman of the bisexual community, I need you. I need all of you lesbians. I need all of you gays. I need all of you bisexuals. All of you trans and queer and agender and intersex and everybody. I need all of you to stand up for yourselves and stand proud and stand tall of everything that you are. And even if you have to fight, and even if you get bullied, and even if you get hit and you get kicked and spit on, you stand proud and you stand with your dignity and you don't go out without a fight. You do not let yourself be led like a lamb to the slaughter, but you stand like a warrior, because we all have the spirit of warriors. We all have the spirit to be something greater than anything that you can even imagine you can be right now. You have the spirit and the potential for awesomeness. Don't let yourself get bogged down by the bullshit things that people may say to you. They're just people. They're imperfect human beings just like you. They're confused and frightened and you know, flawed people just like you. And they put the front on and they bully to hide their own imperfection and their own flaws. And many times they bully because they are being bullied in ways that maybe you can't see. I invite you and I challenge you to have empathy and compassion for the people that are bullying you. And I invite you and I challenge you to do something about it when you see other people being bullied. Just the other day, I'm a part of a group called the Society for Creative Anarchists. And we do medieval recreation and things like that, and sword fighting and fun stuff. And I was at a meeting practicing sword fighting, and I was happened to be presenting as male that day. And I was standing there listening to my instructor telling me about how I'm supposed to hold my sword and stuff. And this is in a public park. So besides our group, there's a bunch of other people there. There's kids riding bicycles and playing and families and stuff. And I see a group of about 4 or 5 kids between the ages of like 8 to 12 on bicycles, and they're coming towards me in my direction. And I hear there's 2 little boys that are riding their bicycles side by side next to each other. And it was the cutest thing. And there was like another little kid riding in front, and then there was a girl, she was probably a little bit older than them, on a bicycle riding behind them. And I hear, she's about 10 feet away from me, and I hear this little girl say to these 2 boys that are riding side by side, "Oh my gosh, you guys look so gay." And I'm just kind of like, I'm hanging back and I'm observing because I'm seeing, I want to see where is this going, right? And as they get closer and closer in their approach, they were passing right by me. As they get closer, I hear this girl berating, she starts like berating these 2 little boys. "Oh, you guys, you need to stop. You look like you're on like a honeymoon or something. Like, you just look so gay right now." And by this point, they were right next to me when she had said that. And I looked at my instructor and I said, "Excuse me for a second." And I walked over to in front of where this little girl was, and I looked at these 2 boys, and I looked at this girl in the eyes, and I said to her, "Even if they were gay, that is okay." And one of the little boys looked over at me and he said, "That's right." And the little girl got on her bicycle and went on her way. Now, that may not sound like bullying to some people. That may sound like, oh, kids being kids. But if you would have heard the tone of voice in this little girl, I was like, she's kind of intense for a child. And if we as adults, if we see this happening and we don't step up and we don't say something and we leave the kids to figure it out on their own, they might not. And who knows how far that could have escalated. That could have escalated to the point where if I didn't say something, maybe she would have made those little boys cry. I don't know. I'm speculating. But the point is, if you see something, say something. Stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. If you have a voice, if you are in a position of any kind of authority or anything, use it to be a champion of those who cannot champion themselves. It is the very least that you can do as a human being. Because ultimately, if it was the other way around and somebody was harassing you for whatever it is that you are, would you not want someone to turn around and do the same? I think you would. So, like I said, if you are feeling alone, if you're feeling like you can't handle this life anymore, I don't blame you, because it's tough out there. But you are not alone, and there are other people out there that can help you, that will talk to you, and that can guide you no matter what your situation is, no matter how bleak it might seem. And if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. Message me in the comments. You can find me on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever. I'll put my info out there, and you can contact me anytime, 24/7, 365, if you want somebody to talk to and get you off that ledge, or just to shoot the shit. I don't care. I'm friendly like that. You let me know. I'm here for you. If no one else is here for you, I am here for you. And so, something that I wanted to do, besides I'm wearing this black ribbon for Alyssa in mourning of the loss of another member of our bisexual community, along with this cool shirt I got from the Bisexual Resource Center. It's not a phase, it's my life, is what it says, because it's all of our lives. I want to light a candle for Alyssa, and I invite you to light a candle for Alyssa as well. And I light this candle for Alyssa Morgan, who never got to know a first love, never got to know a first kiss, or a prom, or a college graduation, or a first night out in a gay bar, or a pride parade, or the new season of Orange is the New Black. And you know the main character is by the way. For Alyssa, who missed out on the chance to reach her maximum potential because too many people told her that she wasn't worth doing so, I light this candle for her, and I invite you to do the same. And finally, the way that I cope with my pain and my anguish and my sadness is through my writing. And after I read Alyssa's story, I went out to breakfast, and while I was waiting for my food, I wrote this poem for her. And I'm going to post a link to it in the description, and feel free to share it with anybody who you want to share it with if you like it. And if you don't, that's cool too, I don't care. And it's called A Call to Evolve. And this is for Alyssa Morgan. May you rest in power. There are very few things that are constant in this life, like the ebb and flow of love, health, and prosperity. We only know for certain that we are born, we bleed, and we die. So we must choose to treat each other compassionately. It is time we evolved past our primitive, discriminatory ways, past our need to mock, bully, and tease. If we ever want to end these tragic, death-filled days, my sorrow mournful heart desperately makes this plea. Let us raise those up that we don't understand, instead of cutting them down early on. Let us make the effort to comprehend each unique individual spark. For beyond all that lay on the surface, beyond our very bodies, our many differences are truly minuscule when you consider the greatness of the one thing we all have in common. We all have a spirit, a soul, an energy with infinite potential. The potential to transcend the earthly mundanity of hatred, to push aside our inner troglodyte, loving every living being throughout creation, valuing and learning from their qualities beyond those visible to our eyes. The only way to change this world is with hearts and minds that are open. abandoning this era of ignorance, intolerance, and terror. Now is the time to surrender the shell of the base Homo sapien for the limitless and loving fortress of the empathetic Homo superior. So I invite you to stand up, to evolve, to be something more, to be better, to be loving, to be empathetic and compassionate and caring. Because I firmly believe that we are not bodies, biological creatures. We are not just bodies with a soul. We are a soul with a body. We're a soul having a human experience. And that goes above and beyond anything that our physical being might limit us to. So I invite you and I challenge you to keep living, keep learning, and keep loving. And I challenge you to take a stand for all those who cannot stand for themselves and spread Alyssa's story. Have a good one.